Good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be. My name is Bruce, and these are my hands of my only hands account. To my stunning right is the most beautiful hostess and co host one could have on their panel. I'm lucky to have my best friend Janet with me tonight, and we have been discussing movies for over a year. Tonight,
Hmm.
we wrap up 4 weeks of January out of 5 weeks where we discussed the movies of Philip K. Dick. And we'll do this again next year at this time. I'd like to say good evening to everybody, but before I start rattling off the names in the chat, I want to ask Janet. Janet, how are you tonight?
I'm great. I'm doing good.
Okay.
How are you?
I I feel unencumbered. I feel unfettered. I'll just say that.
Yes.
And I'll explain it later, chat. But it's been a good night. We first in the chat we have our sister, the lovely Miss Jackie Blue, one of our great mods. Hey, hon. We have and the two chats our good friend
Yeah.
Grumpy Old Ninja Kentaro. Sir, great to see you here. Baby Girl says, I've never seen this movie. We're going to hope that we intrigue you enough to where you want to see this movie. It's a fantastic film.
Yeah. It's how old is it?
This is about 21 years
Okay.
old. This
So
movie
too
is great.
bad. You get spoilers. That's just the way it is. It's old.
Yeah, if you need a link, you're going to have some funny squiggles at the bottom of the screen, but I'll get you a link, baby girl. If you're in Janet's Discord, you need to make yourself known.
I don't know. I don't think they're in my Discord yet.
Okay. Mr. Timothy Odom, first time visitor that I can recognize you. How are you
Hello.
tonight, sir? Our good friend from the lovely city of Walking Zombies, Mr. Flady
Hello,
One,
lady.
Flady One Gaming,
Welcome.
from the other side of the states, from the snowy north. Actually, it's really kind of tepid and mild right now. Six Nations, 31 Kings, with the wonderful avatar of, I believe that's Packy. Is that Packy? If you know what I'm talking about, guys, and that would be Cat Shit One. Amazing little anime movie. 25 minutes. Just give it 25 minutes. It's amazing. And our friend from not quite the UP, he's a fudge sucker. Soy based Jeremy.
Yeah. Hi, Jeremy.
And then our friend Papa Cotton rolls into the chat. Hey Janet.
Hi, Papa. Jeremy. Sorry. I just turned on my thing. I gotta turn it off.
It's okay. I probably should see if we have a stream going on over at Rumble. And I know that sounds like, wait, you're doing what? Yeah, we're dual streaming over to Rumble right now because Rumble seems to be a good place to have content as well. And for those of you that do this, for you creators out there, I do recommend doing both Rumble. Yep, it's going on over there. Awesome.
Good.
So, so this is a wonderful little platform StreamYards is, and now we get the chat from Rumble back at us. So we get to see everything being said everywhere at once, and we even
Hi,
get to see
Ruben.
what's said in Twitter. Now that I've said that, on with the show. Janet, we watched a fun movie last night. Is it a movie you've never seen before, or is this a multiple watch?
I hadn't seen it before,
Really?
which is not real shocking because I told you before I don't really like Ben Affleck, but that's why I was shocked because you told me it was that Matt Damon.
Matt
So I was like, I can't
Damon.
believe I hadn't seen a movie with Matt Damon. And then when it was Ben, I was like, oh, that's why I hadn't seen it. It's because I think I saw Armageddon and I liked that one. And as a Daredevil, like we talked about, I liked that when he was in that. But it's just I don't know why I don't really care for him too much. So,
Okay.
but this one wasn't too bad. I mean, really, he didn't seem so arrogant in this one for some reason.
Well, I've been pretty impressed. Uh, as much as I don't like certain people's politics, whenever they get in front of a camera and get paid to do what they're supposed to do,
Mhm.
typically they are professionals. And I try to evaluate the movies we watch based on what I see on the film and not what I see off to the side, off, in social media. And I've got to say that Ben Affleck has mostly made me really happy. He's made some movies that I've watched and rewatched. Ben, and even Matt Damon. Matt Damon's best role still is Team America World Police. Fight me. But I've got to say that this is a movie not many people saw, and it's really weird because they gave a lot of money to the creation of it. This movie was set out to do a $60 million budget, and it doubled it in 2003 with very little. There was very little to do about this movie in the realm of advertising. I don't remember any adverts for this.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't really pay that much attention to that. But remember, I did make the kind of like snide remark about does Matt Damon, when he gives up a movie, does he throw a bone to Ben Affleck? Because it seems like every time I research it, like it says here, Matt Damon was offered the role of Michael Jennings, but declined as he didn't want to do another another one of those types of films. So it's like, okay. So then he said, hey, why don't you take it? So it's like he can't get any work unless he gets a bone thrown at him from Matt Damon. But I don't know. I'm just being a bitch. Sorry. I just think he's an ass. I just don't like him. And Matt Damon is a really good actor. So
I'm pretty okay with this movie being what it is, and I try to not evaluate actors in their social media or in their political limelight because I know that no matter what, I'm probably not going to agree with them. That's something I've learned over time. And if somebody makes a big boo-boo, like the Dixie Chicks, thank God for the Dixie Chicks running their mouth because I didn't have to listen to them on repeat on my CD player. I was good. That was back when like, oh, you said a liberal thing. I'm not going to listen to you. If I would have been like that through all of my life, like I would have never watched anything by Philip K. Dick because early on he was communist. He attended Communist Party meetings, but as time went on, he grew up and he realized I got to pay taxes. He got very libertarian in his old age before he died. He died 4 months before the release of the wonderful movie Blade Runner in 1982. And I think, we are a richer society for his work. Western society has benefited from the stories he wrote. He didn't change the world, but he gave us something to momentarily distract us with. And that's all I ask for. Because no matter what, an author is not going to save me. A poet's not going to save me. I'm going to be the one to figure out how to get up, how to be productive, and how to go pay my bills. But this was a wonderful way to spend the month of January. Thank you for entertaining me on this endeavor to watch Philip K. Dick films with me. And we did watch.
I found something else I thought was interesting. It said the film features several of director Woo's trademarks in it. Do you know what they are?
Yeah, you've got the Mexican standoff scenes. There's 2 of those in this movie. I think it's the only one he does where there's two Mexican standoffs. Then they have the release of the doves. Yeah. Which, if you've ever seen any other John Woo film, what I just mentioned is in that movie. And that's just there. There's also a couple other things. The freeze frames. Whenever they spill the 20 contents from the envelope, the 20 items of junk, it freeze frames there. And there's a couple other little parts where they freeze frame, but the freeze frame is completely a John Woo trademark. He does that in a lot of his movies. He did that in Mission Impossible 2 when Tom Cruise was leaping from one face of the rock to another face of the rock, and it was great. But I got to say that, Matt Damon. Hi, Ruben. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, I was really impressed with this small amount of props and locations and stuff. Everything was clean, like the offices and stuff. There was very little in the rooms at all. And most of the stuff looked like it could be used in multiple sets. Well, like when he was in the office getting his mind wiped, they used the same equipment in the other office. It was just a different way it was set up in there. You know what I mean?
That's perfect. That for the
Yeah, it
prop
was very
department.
smart and very, frugal. So he could basically do all these things without, wasting any money on any of it. So I thought that was really good. He was really smart the way that, or whoever was in charge of, making sure that the props money wasn't, wasted on a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? So they did really good at multitasking and using them over and over again, which is really good. If you see that, especially if I wonder if the people that did props and stuff like that, the prop master was in multiple movies by this director.
I don't know. Let me go over to the all
It's
cast.
just interesting because normally I don't notice this type of stuff as much. It's usually editing and other little details, with the wardrobe and things like that. But this time that really stuck out to me. The more I thought about all the different sets and everything, the multiple uses of things in there, even the parts where you see Uma Thurman working on her her theatrical garden. I mean, that's what I called it because she had catwalks in it. Why? I have no idea. Up above a garden, a tropical thing where she's growing, different types of like plants that would be grown in certain countries, like Asian countries, maybe Japan, Thailand, places like that. At least that's what it looked like with the it was almost like it was supposed to be a special garden for edible plants or something, because it looked like it had
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of a project where somebody's like, I want to have a indoor greenhouse that has absolutely nothing pumped in from the outside. I need it to be self-sustaining.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like
a
hydroponics plantation, almost like they were trying to think of a way to grow food while you lived underground.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That was interesting. The only thing that I thought was missing from that part of it I kept looking for was the source of lighting for the plants. There was lots of light in there, but they didn't really show where the lights came from. And man, was it really tall, because as they went up on the catwalk thing and that thing that would lift you up, move you around and stuff.
And there was tall enough to where you could dangle somebody by a chain.
Yeah, but it was even above that though. You never saw the ceiling. Even when they backed away and you saw the big screen that they had when they did the futuristic machine part, you still didn't see the ceiling. So there was a couple of things like that kind of became irritating. It was really hard to tell, which made it, to me, it made it really obvious that a lot of scenes were filmed on the stage, in the studio, instead of, and then the prop people didn't put a ceiling on it, so it made it never ending, which is okay in some things, but it seemed like it was in multiple scenes over and over and over again where I never saw a ceiling. And after I didn't see a ceiling, I started looking for them. So that kind of bugged me.
Say again?
I said that kind of bugged me. Sorry, I had to cough. I got a sip of water.
It's okay. Well, anyway, this movie has a bunch of people that star in this, and I didn't realize the level of oh my godism when I started going through the casting list of familiar faces. First off, you got Ben Affleck plays Michael Jennings. He's our lead. Aaron Eckhart plays the antagonist, Rethrick. Uma Thurman gets to play Rachel. Paul Giamatti, one of my favorite actors, although he's not really any of my favorite movies, but just seeing him in a show means I'm going to get quality. And if you ever watched, I think it was, there was a HBO John Adams, or it was one of the founding fathers. Hold on. Let me get over to this. Good preparation, Bruce. Good job. Back in the early 2000s, Paul Giamatti was on HBO, and he did John Adams miniseries. He did 7 episodes, and it's one of the best 7 episodes for American history being brought to life. And of all things, HBO did it factually, and they did it well. If you ever get a chance to watch John Adams with Paul Giamatti, oh my God, you're in for a treat. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids, chain them to the living room. You're going to be there for 7 hours. Get some popcorn, and everybody wear a diaper. Okay. Aside from that,
I was happy to see Michael C. Hall. Is that what his name is? Yeah.
Yep, he played Agent Klein.
I love Dexter. That was one of my very favorite shows. I even had named one of my dogs Dexter after that show. It was so well done because I read the books, most of the books, and Michael C. Hall was just phenomenal in that series. I just absolutely loved it. So when I got to see him in this, I was like just giddy, like a dum-dum, just getting to see him act in it, and how much I just miss him. He's such a good actor. I loved him in 6 Feet Under. He's just really, really talented, and he can sing. He's multitasking actor and singer like Hugh Jackman. I would love to see him and Hugh Jackman actually in a movie together, because I think that they could
play off each other too well.
I think they'd play off each other really well, depending on how what script they end up getting, because they're both very good at dramatic things and at comedy. I don't know. I just think they're just so talented, both of them. So I was just really enjoyed him, and the actor that played his partner, I can't remember what his name was.
You mean Joe Morton, the young black man that was in the movie Terminator 2?
Maybe that's. I think that might have been him, but I can't remember from Terminator 2. But I liked him. I thought he was really good. I thought that's him. They played well with each other, like almost like finishing each other's answers, and
I think they hung out for
real
a couple
partners.
Days.
Do what?
I think they hung out for a couple days just to get each other's mannerisms down.
Well, they just seemed like they could be partners for a long time in the FBI or CIA, whatever 3-letter agency they were supposed to be in. It seemed believable. It was very believable to me. And and both of their disdain for their boss, that was really good too. So they did well. I mean, for outside of the original group of people that you see that are swiping off each other's minds and doing all the different things. And one of the things that another problem that I had with it was the emphasis that the one gentleman put on when he was wiping Ben Affleck's memories, right at the very beginning. Yeah. When he was wiping his mind, and the other kid was trying to bend over to look at him because he was making out with the real pretty blonde at the beginning in the red with the bright red lipstick and stuff on. I really liked that part too. I liked how he occasionally used red here and there throughout the movie. I thought that was really, really good to make it stand out. It was like a standalone color wherever it was at. I thought that was really intriguing. But the young man that bumps into the table and causes him to almost raise the temperature of the guy's brain or whatever, right? And remember what he said: if you get too high and it stays there for, like that, you could wipe him, make him a vegetable.
Yeah, 43 degrees Celsius.
What happened when they did it to him later, and they stayed at that way high, and you don't see any after effects from it? I don't know. That bothered me. That seemed like a flaw in the script, or either they were supposed to have something happen, because I didn't read the story, the short story. I don't know, that I kept waiting for something to happen to him, to collapse and have an aneurysm or something because of what happened, but nothing happened. So to me, that was like a dead end, almost like the herpes in the pirate movie that we watched.
Yeah, experts.
There was like, it was a huge thing there, and you're paying attention to it, and it goes nowhere.
No finish.
I hate it when they do that in a movie. So
give your audience blue balls. Good job.
Yeah, it's a misdirection, but they didn't close it off. They didn't. I don't know, they didn't add to it, finish it or have him give him an ejection or something to say, hey, we got to do this because he might be comatose and we'll never get our answers or something. I don't know.
This was the lady that Ben Affleck had the computer monitor, and for 3 months he figured out how to have the hologram without the monitor, and she was a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
She also was really pretty. She's been in Smallville. She used to control men with her pheromones, which was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
I can't remember her character's name, but it was fun to watch.
And what was her name?
Krista Allen.
Krista Allen. What? She looks so familiar. I've seen her in other things.
Oh my dear Lord! Let's go see what Krista Allen's done. Okay. So
yeah, she's definitely striking. You would not see her.
Yeah, she was in The Bold and Beautiful, Baywatch,
gorgeous.
Anger Management, and she's in one of my favorite bad movies, Feast. Bold and Beautiful, Aftermath, 9/11, all this stuff nobody here knows because nobody watches crap. None of us watch crap, right? We stay away from crap, don't we, people? Okay.
We all. Meg. What was that Meg one? Go up a little bit.
This is Meg.
This is Meg. Oh, I thought it was the movie Meg.
The Meg. Yeah, I wish. I like the movie. She was on Castle as Naomi Duave for one episode. She was in Random: The Adventures of an Irish Guy in L.A., which is obviously a good film. 7.2. She did an episode for Hawaii Five-0. She was in Locker 13. She's on the TV show Rules of Engagement. If you need a hot woman, she does really well. She was on Love Bites for an episode, The Protector for one episode. She was on Black Widow as Jennifer, not the 2000 shitty movie, the 2010 movie Black Widow. Jessie Stone, No Remorse. And by the way, Jessie Stone is all on Tubi. If you want to watch some Jessie Stone movies, do you like Tom Selleck? Do you want to have a mustache ride, ladies? All that's on Tubi.com, absolutely free. She's in the 2009 movie Final Destination. She played the MILF, Samantha. I don't write this shit. Somebody else wrote this. I just read it.
No, I mean, yeah, I can see why. I mean, she's definitely going to be a MILF. She's one of those ones that's going to be a MILF for a very long time. She looks like she's going to age very well, I think, too.
Gee, I wonder who else did
that. Like that. What's her name? That Miriam from Reds.
Helen Mirren.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is beautiful. She was a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Her whole life. I mean, she's just beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff, but she's very recognizable. You know what I mean?
She was on.
She was in Monk.
Yeah. She was on Meat Market. She's on Tony and Tina's Wedding, which I've seen that, and that's a terrible film. I agree with the 3.7 there. She's been on Frasier, one of my favorite TV shows I used to watch. I need to watch all of it. Andromeda, Gene Roddenberry's show. She played the princess. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. We are talking about a bit part, the hologram girl, the girl with the perfect body.
But it was a very good scene because you're trying to figure out what's going on, especially if you're like me and you hadn't read the short story. So I had no idea what his capabilities were and why they would want him there or any of that stuff. So apparently he was like a computer whiz genius person that can take things apart, put them back together better than they were. By using other people's technology type of thing.
That's a reverse engineer, though.
I was so impressed, though, when you saw the hologram, the 3D face of the woman come out of the computer, and she's talking and turning around. You could see her face sticking out of it, like she was going to step out of the screen any second. And then you see him showing it. It cuts to him showing it to the people that he supposedly performed the whole thing for in the first place, and then he moves the whole keyboard out of the way, and she's just standing there, or the background of the laptop.
Yeah,
I just thought that was so cool that you made a complete hologram for them with the technology he had taken from the other thing, and to me that was really, really cool. I like that whole way that they did that. I thought that was really, really good. So I was impressed.
I've got to say that this is the end of the Philip K. Dick series for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this. As far as this movie is concerned, I like this movie a lot. This is a guilty pleasure because of all of the things they do during what I would normally call the filler material. The chase scenes in Act 2, it's not as bad as the movie you watched, The Imposter, but Act 2 is a chase scene. If you're not into chase scenes, you can skip Act 2. But
you know what? I was impressed with it.
The shot placement was great. John Woo, I don't know if this movie had, hold on, if this film had the same individual that John Woo usually does have as a DP, director of photography.
But guess what? I thought the chase scenes in this movie were better than in the one with the Minority Report.
This movie has some really good chase scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as revolutionary as what Bullet did for chase scenes, but they did very well. They did very, very well. I thought that the chase scenes were entertaining. Even on a rewatch, you could go back and enjoy. And just watching the second act, when he gets the BMW motorcycle, that's great. And then you see the driving through the hay bag containers, and it's just that actually, on the big screen, that gives you like fits, like, oh my God, the fuck am I doing watching this? These guys are crazy.
Well, the scene where you see the dweeby guy that meets up with him at the like little eatery at the mall type thing, mm-hmm. That's what it looked like. And it seemed bigger, when he was walking around and went past the little display that had all the Beanie Babies on it. Because you could tell by looking at them. I mean, I had some of them. I had some of those Beanie Babies. Remember, they were the huge hit.
That was a huge thing back in the 90s.
Yeah, in the late 90s. And so that I could definitely tell they didn't have the tags on them. All the tags were gone, but they were definitely Beanie Babies. And he's walking around. It seemed like it was very open, then. And then the next thing you know, they're sitting at that little booth, and there's a row of tables there with a little bit of a partition in the way. And then when you start, the camera starts panning around the room, and you see a guy reading the newspaper and looking around. Then another guy just hovering, in another spot. Another guy, and then the room looks like I don't know if it was supposed to do that, but it was like the room got magically smaller. Did it seem like that to you? It's like everything was closing in on them.
Yeah,
and
it felt like it was getting closer.
If that's how it was supposed to come in, make you feel like everything was closing in on him, that his life was catching up with him, that type of thing. I thought it was really impressive the way they did it. And it was almost like when you go to a play, if you've ever gone to a play and you watch, it's a big stage, and they have a little bit of stuff over there and a little bit of stuff there. And they have it like strategically set around, and they walk around talking and go, and they'll pour water at the little sink, and then they'll walk over to another display and cut some bread up or whatever. It's all strategically set around. But when he looks up and they start doing the lottery numbers, okay, and then he pulls up the little deal, and it's got those numbers on it, and then it's got what is that called when you turn it over? Your fortune, the fortune on the other side, like it was from a fortune cookie. I thought that was interesting, especially when that's when he starts noticing all the people, and then the room starts getting smaller. It seemed like it was really far away where they were first standing, and then all of a sudden they're all really close. It was just very, I just thought that whole scene was very, the building of the intenseness of it. Okay. The only thing that bothered me about the whole thing was how bad a shot everybody was.
Yeah,
These
the stormtrooper training.
Secret agents, they all suck.
The stormtrooper training. These are guys from the Clinton era. That's all I got to say. It's 2003. They've not been broomed.
They don't work for Hillary. I can tell you that.
No,
because she has a lot of suicides.
Hillary
going on.
doesn't kill people.
Well, like, suicides happening.
So we're gonna go. Jeff Kimball's the guy that I'm having a crush on right now, and a man crush, guys. Get it straight. He did some camera work for some not so great movies, but the director of photography work, Legend of Billie Jean, Top Gun, 1986, Beverly Hills Cop 2, 1987, Jacob's Ladder, 1990, Curly Sue, director of photography, 1991,
True Romance,
1993, The Specialist, Sharon Stone movie. We'll have to watch it one of these days, 5.6. Wild Things, 1998. Apparently there was 4 years that he had really good. He didn't have to go to work. Stigmata.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies on that list, at least for me.
Mission Impossible 2 had a lot of promise. God damn it. That's like the worst Mission Impossible movie out of all 7. That's the worst one right there. Wind Talkers.
Was it the script? Or was it his?
It's the script, the direction, and just everything about that. The script sucked, and then having John Woo direct it, not a good idea. John Woo is great for other things, not this. Wind Talkers, a Nick Cage movie. This is the first Nick Cage movie where you get to see good Nick Cage schlock. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, we'll have to watch Wind Talkers together, because that's such a good schlocky movie. Great schlocky movie. Star Trek Nemesis.
Paycheck. I like almost all the Star Treks, so I'm one of those people that I shouldn't, but I could actually choke it down as long as it had the real people in it, or close to the real people, or people that tried to be the real people.
And just to let everybody know, in March we're going to have a panel of 4 people discuss Star Trek Continues, because that was an amazing 11 episodes. 6 Nations, 31 Kings, and Chimerian to be part of the panel.
Fan-made, right? Fan-made Star Trek.
Yes, fan-made Star Trek. Star Trek done right. And I think Paycheck is the last movie that he worked with John Woo on. He did Paycheck, Wind Talkers, and Mission Impossible 2 with John Woo. And these, he didn't do that. But this guy has got a great record. Even in the 2011s, 2010s, he did.
So he's done 3 movies with this director.
With John Woo, yeah.
Okay.
He did one with Chris Aguilera. He's doing a video, and then he did another music video with Iggy Azalea, because apparently he likes big bucks.
Remember, a couple of times I've mentioned this in some of our reviews, is the fact that a person that goes from making music videos, which is made in a studio, that with wide open spaces, when you can just move things all around and have no ceilings, and all this different stuff, tends to do that a lot when they film movies and TV shows. They have lots of open areas because they feel like, I don't know, you could tell that they used to do Broadway or, a lot of these different things because of the way they visualize things through the lens. As cinematographer, right? Is that what he did, right? Okay. And it's because, and I can sometimes tell, unless they're really good at crossing over, and a lot of them, they just can't. Okay. So because they feel like there's too much clutter. They look around and they go, God, there's just too much stuff. We need to get some of this stuff cleared out, because you can't see. The people won't be able to focus on what they're supposed to see. But most people's homes are full of things, right? So when you have a home with hardly nothing in it, it just seems very, bland, like stationary, like a hotel room. Okay. Nobody has their bedroom that looks like a hotel room. I mean, it's just, unless they're a germaphobe or they're, someone like that, you got stuff, everybody has things. I mean, if you looked at my desk, a person would probably faint. There's just so much stuff on it. But that's just what because you got you got to have your tape and your pencil sharpener, your stapler, your charger for your phone, your little speaker, a couple of pictures, some knickknacks. Things start coming, and that's what you have. But you didn't see that in any of this. You know what I mean? The offices, everything was just sanitary. It was very sterile. Didn't have very much stuff in it, and that's why I said, and if his movies were like that, the two that I remember that this director did, it seemed that way. It seemed very not cluttered. So that's why I was wondering if it was the same person that's worked with him before, because they know what he reusing things and things like that. And I definitely think that when they see something, when they hold their hand up or they hold that little square up, that rectangle up, and they're looking through it, they're trying to visualize what it's going to do, what it's going to be when they're finished. And that's what I'm saying. It depends on what their preferences are, because remember, the director's always right. It doesn't matter whether it's in the script or not. If he doesn't like the person that's standing there, he's going to get rid of them. That's just the way it is. So you get what you pay for when you get a director. You're paying for the director to do certain thing, and if you like the way they do it, then you're going to be happy with them most of the time. If they're focusing on their job, not focusing on other things. So I don't know. Sorry, I went off.
You're good. You're good, because like a lot of us don't have an IMDb page, or a lot of us don't have a credit in the industry. You've been behind the camera, you've been in front of camera, we get it, and you can speak from experience. I can't. I don't know anybody in my chat that can, and so I just always default to you whenever we start talking about things like that, because that'd be the smart thing.
Yeah, but you can watch documentaries. There's lots of things you can do to see behind the scenes, little things that they're doing back there, and how many cables are laying all over the ground, so you gotta be able, when you're walking, or you got your little guy, your photographer, and he's holding the camera, he's on a chair, and you got some guy pushing him around on a dolly, you got to have they got to pay attention, because there's cables everywhere, and they got them taped down. So you run through that, you're going through them all, so you're not running over them. Or they have a little tram that goes over the top of all the cables stuff, because there's tons of them, because you have so much lighting, and you got microphones, you got just multitudes of stuff going on all the time, and everyone has a job, and everybody's running around. That's why it's so cool when you get to see something and you find a cup, or you see someone wearing tennis shoes when they're supposed to be wearing like Knight's boots or cowboy boots or whatever, depending on where they're supposed to be. So it's sometimes hard to catch all the mistakes that you make. And but that's why eye for detail makes a big difference. Like the movie that we watched, and I said I didn't even notice any editing at all. I mean, it just seemed like they filmed the whole thing, went right through, and it was so good because it all went together. So, that's successful when you're able to have everything fall together, because everybody does their job perfection, to the maximum, and it ends up usually being a huge success, or it wins a lot of awards. To me, today, it doesn't seem like they give awards out to the people that really deserve them. They give them to this whatever big name they choose this time. It's not like it was when I remember when I was young. It seemed like somebody put some effort into it, and it seemed like it was really hard to pick, because you had 5 or 6 great people competing against each other. And today it's like you might have one good movie, and all the other ones you're like, why in the heck they even get nominated? They sucked. You know what I mean? It's just really hard. But that's why I like doing these older movies, because they're actually good. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of effort that was put into this one. You can tell that they had a lot of effort put into this. You didn't have people that were given give less of a shit about things. I didn't see any discarded Starbucks cups on set when the cameras were recording material. That was important.
Yeah, I think it looked like everybody did a great job at whatever it is they were supposed to be doing, whatever jobs they were. But it was very well done, I thought.
So this, if you don't understand what we're talking about with this movie, there's a guy that reverse engineers things, and when he goes under a job contract, he does it, and then afterwards he gets his mind wiped. The first job we get to see is the last job he does on the old method, where after the job is finished, they go into his brain and they literally bake out the memories, which
Well,
could be
they have him lay on this, like it looks almost like a massage table, the way it's shaped and the way that the head lays on it and stuff. Because at least that's what it looked like to me. Because I've never been into a place where they would actually do brain surgery or anything like that, so I wouldn't know. But they have him on that, and then they have this thing. It's like one of, if you go to a spa and you're getting like light therapy done on your face, laser therapy or anything like that, up and down your face and your neck and your arms and stuff, they have this little thing that kind of closes in this way or that way depending on where you want to angle the light. And that's what that thing looked like that they put around his head. And he's laying there and it's got the lights on it. And then you see the computer screen with that guy that you really like, the actor. And he's supposedly watching up on a screen all his memories. And they're picking out certain places in the brain. And you see the little tiny little brain cells, okay, in this magnification. And then you see him zap it with a laser. And the memory you see the memory that we're seeing up on the screen just disappears. So and they do it in a certain time zone, or time, like they know exactly to go forward or backward and stuff, because this guy that's doing it, the procedure, apparently has been trained to be able to erase memories and stuff. Wouldn't that be great to have that, where you can just forget all the bad relationships you had?
Absolutely not. I need all of the bad relationships to stay in. That way I don't repeat things,
Oh, I think it would be great, because then you
No.
could start fresh every time,
Nope.
And what would be really funny is if they did a movie kind of like that, write a script about it, where this person is dating this person and they end up getting all hatred toward each other and stuff, and so they go get their minds wiped, and then a couple days later they bump into each other again and start all over. That would be a good comedy, like Groundhog Day, but where they wipe it all away or whatever. But yeah, they did the procedure on him, and then he didn't remember, except he remembered getting a big check. Okay, it's huge check. It was like $500-something thousand for the job that he had.
I thought it was $250,000 from the first one, but
yeah,
that's
so
okay.
he made a lot of money. So he knew he was getting stuff taken out of his head, but I kept thinking, how many brain cells can you kill before you just are a vegetable anyways? So, do you grow new ones? There was a lot of things like that would have been interesting to find out. But the guy actually seemed like a decent guy, like he really did care for him. So I wasn't ever worried that they were gonna, off him. You know what I mean? Kill him or get rid of him because he was too valuable to them.
Seemed like a good handler.
Yeah, but he was valuable because he was so good at what he did. Like they said, they've been working on something for 2.5 years, and he was able to go in and do it in 2 months. So why would you want to get rid of somebody that's that good? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I think that's the movie you were thinking of.
Maybe I don't know. I don't remember.
I never saw it. It looked like a chick flick.
It might have been, but the thing is that that's what why when he went to take this other job, he seemed like he was a good friend with this gentleman, like he knew him really well since high school or something. And then so I never felt like his life was in jeopardy. You know what I mean? I thought it was very important, whatever it is that we're going to do, and it had to be illegal or something if they had to go through so much secrecy. You couldn't take anything in there with them. It was just weird. And then they injected him with something this time instead of saying they're going to go through and do the zap, 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 afterward. that this was going to stop him from being able to remember anything from that time. It was like some kind of something they put in his blood, and anything after that they would wipe away at the end. It's like it collects data or something like that. It was interesting, but it was enough information to where I wasn't sitting there like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like that at all. So I thought that it was really good. And the gentleman that played the bad guy that gave him the shot in the arm in the first place, I've seen him in quite a few movies too. And
Aaron
he's
Eckhart.
really good.
How do you not know Aaron Eckhart? That guy is a fucking Chad. He's one of the best actors of the 1990s.
I'm terrible with names. I can remember a face a mile away, and I say, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" Hug them and stuff, but not remember what their name is. I'm really terrible with names. I have to say their name like 25 times before I remember it. So, that sucks.
Start playing chess together or something.
Especially if I'm wearing a blonde wig, my memory really goes bad. Is really bad.
I mean, how can you forget this face?
No, I remember his face. I just don't remember his name, him or the other guy.
His name is Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. I remember him. I'm talking about the other guy that was in the
Paul
office.
Giamatti.
Yeah, him. He's the one I was saying.
His name is Paul Giamatti.
I remember him. Paul Giamatti.
Have you ever seen Sideways?
I don't think so.
You can watch it. It's okay. It's better to watch the commentary track. The commentary track is Paul and the other lead just like having a conversation for an hour and a half. Fuck the movie. Their conversation's gold. It's hilarious. The movie's great. Don't get me wrong. It's about people that are just like going around. One guy's a wine snob. The other one's a wine slop. Oh, that's got grape in it. Give it to me. The other one's like, I need to have something that's been picked and actually treated well in the soil it was planted in. It's a good movie. Okay. So the first act, he is trying to figure out what the fuck happened because he comes out of his 3-year assignment. 3-year assignment. No idea what happened. And then he finds out that he gave $92 million to a firm. What? Where'd all my money go? And they give him a little envelope, and he's got the 20 items, random items. Mm-hmm. And you find out that the firm he was working for was actually playing with time dilation, time theory. And so whatever it was he was working on, like he figures he's smart enough to figure out the puzzles that he threw at himself in the future.
Well, it's because he'd already seen the future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he'd already saw exactly what was going to happen to him and what he was going to need at a certain point for those different things to progress to him, make sure he went to the next point that he needed to get to make it to the end, okay, to not die, because he knew he was going to die in the end. So he had to do all these different things to make sure that when he got to that point, it would change it just enough to where he wouldn't die. I mean, at least that's how it seemed to me when I was watching it. So, I don't know.
It's kind of funny because there's a lot of hatred out there for this film. A lot of it from critics. And
yeah, it didn't get very good reviews.
No,
even though it did make good money.
Horrible reviews. But it's funny because Ben Affleck got paid his most. Up until this point, Ben Affleck had never made $15 million from a signature on a movie contract, and he made $15 million. 1/4 of the budget went to Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
And then they asked him afterwards, because they're all slamming the movie, why'd you make this movie? He's like, it's a fucking title. I got a paycheck out of it. Fuck you. And I thought that's pretty good. I mean, he enjoyed it. As a viewer, I watched it, and I enjoyed it a couple times. I've seen this movie probably about 5 or 6 times, and it really doesn't wear down. It's actually a movie that you can rewatch, and it's not a bad film. There's definitely some schlock in it, but it's very watchable. You got some surprise cameos.
I wanted to ask a question though. Was the movie that Uma Thurman was in this movie, was she in Kill Bill after this one?
Uma Thurman was in Kill Bill. Hold on. Let's find out. All right. Uma Thurman.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here's up to 2014. She was in Slap. Movie 43, Playing for Keeps, Smash.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
man.
she was in Dangerous Liaisons too.
Yeah. That's not a movie that I watch a whole lot. I saw that the first time with you guys.
Yeah, I loved that movie. Not so much because it was a chick flick or anything. It was because of the intrigue and how good the actors were in it. Basically,
This is
that's what it was.
in between Kill Bill. Because it goes Kill Bill Volume 1 in 2003. This happened later on in 2003. And then 2004, Beatrix Kiddo returns as Black
Because
Mamba.
I was not real impressed with her acting in this movie compared to her in Kill Bill. It was almost like she was tired or she just was not into it to me.
Okay.
What I mean, she did a good job. I mean, she did a believable character as the love torn woman that was madly in love with him and then upset because he doesn't even remember who she is. So she did good. So she really didn't have to do any overacting or anything like that. But I was just the whole time I was watching, I kept waiting for it to get her to do better. You know what I'm saying? And then I was thinking, well, this must have been before Kill Bill because she got better as an actress as she got older. Because, you know, when she was in Dangerous Liaisons, she was really, really young, just like Keanu Reeves was. So I wasn't expecting them to be at the top of their game. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I was just now that you say that, I'm kind of lets me down a little bit because I was expecting her to have not been very, I don't know, very good or something. I just didn't think she was as good as she could have been. I mean, what do you think about it? I mean,
she phoned this movie in. Okay, she doesn't have to do a whole lot. She's the girlfriend. She's not playing the heavy. She's not playing the one which the movie rests on. I don't have to be convinced that she's a fucking athlete or a superheroine. I have to be convinced she's a botanist. Like Paul Giamatti kind of phones it in on this too. He does really well with just swarthy fat fucks. And I love Paul Giamatti because I myself am a fat fuck. But I really think that he is a great actor. And this movie here, he had to stretch very little to do. He played a Paul Giamatti role.
I thought he did a really good job. He was very believable. Like when the kid bumped into the computer and how he reacted, about, I don't know. He just seemed like he did very good. He was very good at dramatic parts of it. And he was funny, in some of the scenes. In the scene where he was having to fight for his life to get to that room. Yeah. And when he unlocked the doors and he went in there, he just automatically started shutting off all the lights, right? All the electricity. So I thought he did really good.
Okay, but
for action and everything.
Maybe I'm just like overtly critical, and I can accept that from myself. But I don't really think that he struggled too hard to find. He didn't have to reach too hard to make a fun character in this movie. This movie is kind of a goofy film in a little bit, but it's good for that. It's not meant to be John Adams. It's not meant to be In the Company of Men, which is a superior Aaron Eckhart performance, and we'll watch that next February whenever anyway, that's a very good movie.
He did a really good job of portraying a nerd.
Yeah, he plays a nerd really well. His best role is absolutely, hold on. Let me find it. Paul Giamatti's first role is Pig Vomit from Private Parts. And if you saw the movie Private Parts, you remember Paul Giamatti because he was the NBC stooge. And he was excellent in that. And he kind of plays the same character in this movie, but he's supposed to be helpful. He's the same asshole, but he's at least beneficial. I like Paul Giamatti.
But he plays very similar characters.
Like the Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
No. I'm talking about the geek that was taking out his memories. That actor.
Yeah.
Okay. And he plays similar acting in different movies, but he's similar. His characters are similar to that type of character. And his facial expressions, he's very good with his facial expressions. He's good at over exaggerating when he needs to. A lot of people aren't very good at that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something I can bring up for it, but I right this second I can't. But to me, Uma kind of acted like she just didn't know what she should be doing. Maybe that's what she was supposed to be doing. She was just kind of clueless about everything.
I don't think
like the scene where they're in the hotel room and she has the new clothes for him and stuff. Mm-hmm. She did, to me, it wasn't even, I don't know. I just didn't feel like it might be him. It might be him that made her seem not real or believable or something, because I don't think he's that good of an actor, really. I just don't think he's that good of an actor myself, personally. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just feel like he's very limited to what roles he can play, to me, to be good. I don't like Tom Cruise personally, but I think he's an excellent actor, and I haven't seen a movie that he really was terrible in. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and then there's other actors that I think could be great in everything that they've done. Almost every single part they've seen them in, they're good at. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. So sorry. Hate to be a Debbie Downer or whatever, but
fine.
But like when she whipped out the wrench, and she was ready to, bash somebody with it. She seemed, in some parts, she seemed very
confident, very ready to do the business.
Like she was raring to go and full of energy. And then other times she just seemed like she didn't have any energy, like she was exhausted. I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't know. It just didn't seem like she stayed up really late. And then when she got in there, she just didn't have the energy she needed. I mean, I don't know. In other scenes, she seemed like she had lots of energy. So that's just what I noticed in some of the scenes for me.
I have to talk, email something to my dad real quick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, after today, I forgot, like, holy shit. So for those of you that haven't put it together, my work phone is no more. And when I said earlier today, I feel unencumbered, I'm unfettered, that's what I'm referring to. I dropped my work phone, the phone that I've been using as a personal cell phone, because work told me to. Since I've been there, they've been bitching me to use that phone. And so I did. But they sent me on a job site today, which I've had trouble for 3 years at. And today I was having trouble with the equipment, and I fumbled my phone, and it would not deviate from its course. When I empty that tank, I could probably spatula it out with the 15-foot pole I've got. But I don't think I want to use this phone again. I could see how much it costs to get it replaced on the inside, but I don't know if it's going to be worth that. I got to pay for it tomorrow. It's going to suck. Okay. So, yeah, when you don't have a phone anymore, it's awesome. I agree. The Rock, the Splatter movie is probably one of his best movies. I did like Maverick. CGI rock. Yeah, we give Scorpion rock any day of the week. Yeah, I get that. This movie had some pretty neat parts to it. I wasn't expecting Ivana, one of my favorite actresses from the movie Running Scared, to be in this film, but she got to play Maya. And if you don't know who I'm talking about her. This is Ivana Milicic, I think, is her name. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
she did a really good job.
She's amazing, and she was in probably one of my favorite films of the 2000s called Running Scared with Paul Walker. She played Mila Ugorski. And Mila Ugorski. And do they have any pictures of her? Nope, none whatsoever in her top 12. That sucks. MySpace on IMDb sucks. Remember MySpace? You had your top 8. Well, I was looking for the top 12 photos. I was waiting for a good photo from Running Scared to have her in it. She plays a great actress. She was supposed to be in The Cooler, but that role went to Maria Bello. All right. Close that tab out. Got a lot of tabs open here. Chat. Got to ask you guys, if you saw this movie, what would you think about it? What are your scores? I want to know. Because
the part where you see him actually get to use the machine, and that's when he realizes that he had did something to it. So it wouldn't work.
Error 41.
Yeah, and then how he was able to use the last 2 pieces that he had left in the envelope to figure out what he had done. See, to me, that proved that he was like a multi-genius. You know, he wasn't just really smart with certain, being a reverse engineer. I mean, this guy was like way above and beyond. And the guy that wrote these stories, I mean, he must be, I would love to just sit and talk to this guy. I mean, he seems these 4 movies that we've watched that you picked because he wrote these short stories, man, I would like to pick this guy's brain. I just think the 4 movies that we've watched, just from the stories, not even watching the movies or anything, just the stories that went along with it to make the scripts were phenomenal stories. He just seems very intriguing himself.
And he would have fallen in love with you because he was married 5 times.
Oh, really? Well, I could see why, because he could sit and tell you, make you feel like you were the most wonderful thing that ever existed on the planet. I mean, I just could see how he could do that with his storytelling. But the scary thing is that you don't know if he's telling you the truth or not, or if it's just a fantasy. So that's probably why he's been married 5 times. You know what I mean? But I just think that he'd be really cool to sit and just talk to about, the wonders of the world and, things like that. I think it'd be really, really interesting. Don't you think it'd be cool to sit and have a discussion with him?
If he hadn't died when I was 7, I don't think I'd be able to.
No, I know, but there's always these little people that are sending out messages and stuff on the different apps and saying, if you could sit and have lunch or whatever with anyone that has already passed on or whatever, who would you want to, spend your time with? I always say my mom, but I can't help that. But if you still have your parents and everything, and you could just pick an author or a singer or just someone like that, how many people would want to pick, a writer, someone that the books that they grew up reading and just thought their stories were just phenomenal. And you could sit for, all day long and just talk with this person. I think that would be really cool. And this guy seems very interesting, even though I don't remember getting to read any of his books. But I want to now, after these 4 stories that we've done. I'm like, I'm going to get some of his books and read them, because he just seems so, the attention to details and just, just the ideas that he's come up with to write these stories. It's just amazing to me. And I'm sure other people who have read his books would say the same thing. Something like that.
Well, he's contributed to my life so much that I can't really fathom a world where I didn't enjoy the visual spectacle of Blade Runner, or I didn't have a miniature in my hand, or I didn't have a soundtrack in my mind that was done by Vangelis, which I guess I'm saying Blade Runner is a movie that I retreat to all the time. And I mean all the time. I mean that's a film that whenever I was driving around with my phone before it fell into a tank,
Mhm.
if I was bored, I would just put on the end credits music, which it sounds kind of different than the rest of the film, but the rest of the film is quite different from the end, especially the theatrical version. But you get a very happy Blade Runner esque soundtrack, but it's still Vangelis on their A game, and it
Mhm.
you know I think Philip K. Dick is just an amazing person. I think he brought some great questions to mind. I think he always all of his films, there's like a period of time where he does things, and like he'll have periods of his life. If you read his books in chronological order, you can see where he kind of goes from being a little Bay Area commie, and he's doing stuff. I mean, this is the truth. I mean,
Yeah.
he did very little, like up until 1952 at age 23. That's of worth. I mean, who here 25 and under? No offense to you young fucks, but how many 25 and under kids, aside from like Sergeant York or these guys in World War I or World War II, that actually like killed like 20 people, or they led 200 men to success, and kept the free world the way it needs to be and liberated
Mhm.
Western civilization? But very few modern people under 25 have done shit. And no offense, your 20s are there for you to fuck up. Not fuck up really bad because you don't want to get killed, but
Yeah.
you're supposed to learn from experience.
Mhm.
That's that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have somebody that kind of guides you, have a mentor, and do that. And Philip K. Dick, he's a writer, so we know what writers do. They write. Would you do that in a team effort? No. You're alone by yourself. You don't even have the radio on to take you away and make you feel happy or part of a song. You
Mhm.
have to be alone in silence to get the fucking images and words out. And up until he was 23, he didn't do anything that was really great. But then finally, he did this alternative history novel, The Man in the High Castle.
Mhm.
And then he followed it up within the next 6 years with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep and Ubik.
Mhm.
And then in 74, he did Flow My Tears, the Policeman Said. And so after that, in like this late mid 70s, he did a lot of shit that was probably not great, drug abuse. And so you have A Scanner Darkly, which, if you watch the movie, somebody was high when they wrote that script. It's him. He did Valis, and he did The Transmigration of Timothy Archer. And I haven't watched all of his films. I haven't read all of his books. I've read a few of them. Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is absolutely a great movie. Thanks to Six Nations 31 Kings for recommending me get my eyes in it. That was good. That was really fucking good. I was surprised I enjoyed it as much as I did, and I can see where they peeled the ideas out of to make that wonderful movie in 1982. But ever since then, I mean, ever since his death, and he was 53 when he died. He did a discussion panel where our speech where he's talking about transhumanism and are we living in a simulation, and he had all these ideas just flow out of his mouth, and if I tried to copy it, it would sound like word salad. When he spoke in public about this idea that we're living in a simulation, you can see perfectly where he's at and where he's wanting to paint a picture so we can all get an idea and get on the train he's willing to drive down the tracks. And I saw
Yeah.
exactly why he's been known as such a evocative master of the English language. And he's compared to Franz Kafka, and Thomas Pynchon. I think this guy is under fucking credited for Western civilization's forays into science fiction. And thank God, in 2017 they finally started doing some stuff with some of the other things he'd worked on. Channel 4 in the UK started putting out a bunch of different episodes of the Electric Worlds of Philip K. Dick. And so he always seems to take the reader on a journey. He always has these weird themes where he discusses either identity or self-worth and self-verification. And then the best ones are ones where he's questioning various things that are right in front of our faces. Like the fucking movie Imposter, as not so great as that movie is, it's a 65 on my list out of 100. As not so great as it is, it does ask some very good questions like, do you actually believe you're from where you remember? Or are those memories that are just you fabricated or been fabricated and put into you, and you have a greater purpose? Which the greater purpose in that movie is to be a complete bomb for the aliens. But still, the question is that entire portion of the movie, you believe something else about the main characters. You thought something else is going to happen. You thought you were going to get a happy ending. And this movie, this series of movies we watched made me kind of question as to, like, why don't we have things that make us question things more? Why can't Twilight Zone bring back good sci-fi? Why can't we have nice things? Why do I gotta be a bad guy because I'm white, because I was raised in a Christian home with two parents? Why can't I be just accepted as somebody who has thoughts and I have to do things for a living? I honestly feel this January has been one of the greatest times I've had on the web to get to spend time with you and my friends. We watch good movies, we watch good stuff, or not so good stuff, but at least it throws us a curveball and it makes us come out of ourselves and at least try to think, what the hell's going on with the story? And this movie was this movie we watched tonight was a fantastic popcorn flick that really fed into a bunch of hypotheticals. And it would be nice. It would be great if we actually had a situation like that happen where somebody we were narrowly averted from World War III because somebody much smarter than us had left behind a bread trail.
I feel that we do have that if we're lucky, if we have parents and grandparents that we actually get to spend time with. Like every summer we would come or go and visit my grandparents on both sides. Okay. We had grandparents in the north and grandparents in the south. And that's what we would do for a month is we'd travel. Okay. And we got to go to see our grandparents, cousins and all that stuff. And when you'd sit and you'd listen, okay, to the stories it would tell about different things they did when they were kids, and then how they treated your parents, and how your parents were kids and how things that they did. So it's almost like you are getting a step back in time. You're getting to hear how things were running and things went on, about their first car, the baseball game they went to, a movie, the first time they ever got to go to the actually walk-in movie theater, things like that. It's very interesting. So really, it's like a time capsule. If you're lucky enough to have that family that has generations in it, and get to visit them and get to know them. A lot of people don't. So to get to see someone who could take that and make something that other people could get that sensation of what it's like to maybe know the future, and that if we keep on the path that we're on, what's going to happen to us, and to be able to give that insight to others so that maybe if they read your story, they might start thinking maybe we should do some different things so that we don't end up this way, because this is a possibility, right? And I think that's great. And that's why some people seem to rise to the top and others just seem to flounder, is because they might have great stories to tell and very interesting things to show others, but they don't have the same way of being able to show it, because either they're poor or there's a language barrier or some other hurdle that they can't get over, so they're not able to get out there and share their story with others and maybe help others to stop something bad from happening. So just like there's tons of movies that we've watched that have lots of inspiration in them, lots of great stories about family and friends. And then other ones are just fun, like Big Trouble in Little China. There's no way that anything like what we saw in that movie is going to happen. But it was still fun and entertaining. And so was some of the other movies we watched, like Wild Hogs. To me, Wild Hogs was great. It was funny. We laughed. But all it was about real life things that happen to people. You get older. You're not as sexy anymore. You're getting a little rounder on the stomach, but you want to be macho. You want to do your last big hurrah, before you're old. Just lots of little things, just like the movie Bad Boys, right? You got one that's still young and virile. He hasn't found a woman yet, doesn't have family, not held down. He parties and he has nice clothes. And the other one is a little bit, maybe a couple years older, but not much. And he has a whole house full of kids, and a house and bills and all kinds of things, and how different they are. Even though they both have the same type of job, their lives are so different simply on the life choices they've made. So you get to see these intricate details about different people's lives because somebody took it from their head and put it down on a piece of paper and gave us the opportunity to be able to read about it. And then sometimes we connect with characters and sometimes we don't. It depends on what our choices are in our life. And that's what's so fun about entertainment, because entertainment takes you away from your life and puts you in someone else's for a short amount of time. And you get to live and experience something from someone else's perspective that takes you away from your own problems, for a few hours or whatever. And that's what entertainment, why it's so wonderful. Whether it's music or a story that you're reading, or if it's a movie that you're watching or a television show, it's just amazing that people have the talent to be able to put this down. And then other people have the talent to visualize it and put it together using other people, to build props and just do all this different stuff and then make it come to life on a big screen. It's just, to me, is amazing. And I hope that one day they decide they want to start entertaining people again, so we can get back to being able to have a good movie like this one. I mean, it wasn't an Academy Award-winning movie, but it was very entertaining. It had a lot of great information in it, really good actors in it, a great story, had made you think about what our future could be and what would we do if we did see the future. And would we go through all that to try to stop it from happening, or would we just pack our stuff and leave? You see that? Look at that red lipstick.
Catherine Morris.
Yeah, she's really pretty.
So I gotta say that this movie for me holds a special place in my heart, because this is one of the movies that actually kind of opened my eyes to more than just what I had been exposed to on a lot of things. And this movie, as much as this movie doesn't quite seal the deal on a lot of things, it does bring to mind a lot of ideas that we should be able to carry with us. And especially if you're a tabletop player, if you're a playwright, if you entertain people with stories and bullshit, this is a fun movie to watch and a good movie to play What If. Six Nations 31 Kings says, I rate it slightly higher than general consensus, 70% out of 100. Most scores give this a 6.0 or a 6.3 out of 10. And what it lacked in certain areas, for me, it makes up in concept and supporting characters. I gotta agree with it. The supporting characters of this movie is almost good enough to where I could see a 12 episodes just being based around the characters around Michael Jennings. I would love to see that, because there's a lot that could be done with this. This is a world that could be very entertaining, even though it might be our own retro futuristic world from 2003. this is at least fun enough to want to watch over and over again, like I have.
Yeah. Do you know
through the
that
years.
this could also be made into a series if you think about it?
Mhm.
And it could be good, because what you would do is when he's doing his whatever job, his reverse job, you would leave this normal everyday life and go into the life where he's doing whatever job it is, and have all new characters interacting with him over the period of time, a whole season or whatever. And then when he comes back, he gets his mind zapped and he goes back, and people are saying, well, where have you been? He was like, I don't remember. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think it would be really interesting to be able to see somebody be able to break that down and make it into a TV series of
They
some sort.
did that with The Man in the High Castle. I was really surprised that they've gone as long as they have with that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that movie
And
that series
I heard
went
lots of
on.
people say how good it really was, that they did a really, really good job. And it's really hard to imagine that you could take a short story and make it into something so much bigger. But because he packs so much information into such a small story, just like what he did with the envelope, with all the different items in it, right?
Mhm.
And then he has it laying on the bed in a big shape of a question mark in his hotel room. Just little things like that to me were really, really good. And that's the view of the director was just phenomenal about pushing the story's narrative to the unknown. You know what I mean? If you think about it that way, it's just he was just a genius when it came to seeing this writer's vision and wanting to push it up out on screen with such a short amount of information. I don't know. I just thought he did an excellent job at taking whoever took the story from the short story and wrote the script out, and then showed it to the director for the director to visualize what he was going to put on the screen for everyone else to see, and to see those two minds work together, the screenwriter, and then you got the script supervisor, and then you got the director, and then the props people all come in, and all that stuff comes in. But to see those three together saying, okay, this is what we have to do step by step to get it to look like that. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just very cool to get to sit and watch the little things happening all around, and then slowly it forms into a movie. It's really, really cool. Or a TV show, or even a music video, or whatever it is that they're trying to put together, a short to put in a festival to tell a story. It's just amazing to me that this person could sit and write these stories with so much detail and quality behind the characters. And he always has, so far in the stories that I've seen that we've done, he always has so much to offer every time. And when you told me about who he was personally, about him being, against freedom and all that, but it seemed like every single story talks about that type of thing. You know what I mean? About wanting to be free, and the people should have the right to be free from the overbearing government or whoever is going to control everything you do, every aspect of your life. I just think that's very interesting how somebody with that thought process that believes that that's how we should live can think and write such good stories about freedom. It just doesn't connect, does it? It doesn't really seem like it could be truthful.
No.
I don't know how he does it.
I like this movie a lot. I guess this is where we talk about our scores. Hey, Mac Thompson, how you doing tonight, sir? I'm going to give this movie a 75.
Hey, really? Because that's exactly what I'm going to give it.
I think this movie misses on a few things, but I think if you're there and you've got your uncle in town or you've got your nephew in town, this is definitely more of a movie for guys. But and that's primarily because Uma Thurman performs so subpar. I was expecting more out of her. Every time I watch this, I do recommend that Uma would just not be in the movie. She provides a couple key moments where she does things, but then the rest of the movie, she's just kind of like bored, whatever. And if this was filmed in today's modern era, she would be using a phone on camera, and her face would be completely slack, and we'd have no emotion out of her while she taps away on her Candy Crush game. And that's basically what I figure she's doing. It's just pre-Candy Crush Paycheck movie. And, she's just earning her check. That's all it is. But she's the worst part of the film in this movie. And I don't really say that often because she's really a good actress. She does, for the most part, perform very well in whatever movie.
Yeah, to me, her only task really that made her important was filling in a couple of gaps for him. About like her knowing that they were in the wrong parking lot when she saw the key.
Yep.
Okay, little things like that, and then the fact that she saves him from the girl that comes to pretend to be her, and a few other little things like that. And at the very end, when she tells him, right before the bullet's gonna fly, don't you want to try again? Basically, take a second chance.
Yeah.
Don't you believe in second chances? So just little things like that. So her character was needed, but I just think that if I don't know if it was the part that was written for her, or if it was just really her being like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really tell because I'd have to get the script and read it and see if there was, if it was just the bad part for her. It just wasn't written very well. It was very dry and empty. It was a very empty amount of stuff for her to perform to, bring out more character for her. But she was important when it came to him coming back and making it to the end again to get his money. Just little things like that. So I don't know. But the fact that he gave up that money to be able to come back and to try to find her again, to get back with her because he was in love with her and thought that he'd fall in love with her again. That was very romantic. But honestly, if somebody had their brain wiped, he'd have to fall in love with her again. And the circumstances would be totally different on this side of where they were before.
Could you imagine, like, okay, you spend 3 years with Mr. Studpuffin, and for 3 years, Mr. Studpuffin and you have heavy petting sessions, you have makeout sessions, you talk about your moms, you enjoy some like time in the kitchen, you have more time horizontal, you do stuff.
You spend the time falling in love with each other, getting to know each other.
And then, like, this is going to happen where at some point, all this goes away. All of it is gone.
Did she know that in advance, or did she?
She had to.
She didn't, because remember when he came to her house, the other guy, and he's patting her on the shoulder, and he says, "I'm so sorry, I hate to tell you this, but he decided to leave."
She knew he was going to. I think there's 3 years
because he told her that he wasn't going to leave. That he wasn't. He decided he didn't want to do it, but then he did do it. See, he
did do it. But the thing is that he also gave her an out, and he's like, "Meet me at this cafe at 1 p.m." And then they sent little Miss Minority Report girl over to see him, and not Minority Report. My bad. Ivana Milicic, the lady that has heterochroma in this movie, which she doesn't have that in real life. That's just a contact lens. But
if he hadn't seen her eye just right or whatever, then he would have fell for it. He basically was falling for it, and he was about to die anyways if it hadn't been for her coming and saving him.
Exactly.
So, because she did love him, because she was still in love with him,
Well, yeah, I mean, her feelings
had lost
his did.
Memories.
His stopped temporarily. Men are different than women. Like, if you got your mind wiped and Mr. Studpuffin still loved you, you'd probably be like, whenever you met up with Mr. Studpuffin, he'd be giving you all the googly eyes. You'd be like, "Oh my God, this guy likes me too much. Get the fuck away from me. I don't want this."
Maybe.
He'd try you out.
I'm one of those people, I'm one of those people that really believes that true love is true love. And that no matter what happens, you're going to be able to get it back. You know what I mean?
And
I'm one of those true romantics. I really do believe that you might fall out of love a little bit and then you fall back in love again.
I
But
think,
it takes
guys,
effort.
it takes a lot for us not to be in love with somebody if we're getting reciprocating vibes. Like,
Yeah, but
good case in point.
that's
Good case in point.
lust.
Good
That's
case in
lust.
point.
That's not love.
How many?
That's two different things.
But there's been plenty of times where like there's been something started in high school, and then two 20-somethings years later get together, and the girl says something like, "You know, I really liked you back in high school." And the guy's like, "We dated 4 times. I fucking masturbated about you all my senior year. What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "Well, wait, what?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Would you want to try dating again?" He's like, "I'd love to." And next thing you know, he's throwing fucking jewelry at it. Because this has happened with my friends. This is how I've lost friends. They've gotten married and said, "Fuck you, we're done. We're done, Bruce. You're a little too toxic, a little bit too much of a single guy. Have fun. You hope you find somebody that tames you down, but we can't have you around us because you're gonna fuck up our kids. You're gonna fuck with my wife's mind. You're gonna do some things." And Betty's feeling it right now. She's got a ticking clock. The eggs are not going to stay there all of her life. We got to go and have kids. So I got booted out of people's lives because they wanted to have a family in a healthy environment. Fuck you guys. Anyway.
Well, that's like that song that came out. I think it was Jay Giles band or whatever, Centerfold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's going to high school with this girl and he really likes her, and all he could think about is her soft, fluffy sweaters and how pretty she was, and how he couldn't wait one day to maybe ask her out on a date. You know, and he's one of those guys that's shy and he just can't get himself to do it. And then one day he bumps into her, and then he realizes, you know, he gets the magazine and he sees that she's the centerfold in the middle of the penthouse or whatever the magazine it is, and he can't believe it. You know, this is the girl they used to dream about in school, and now he can see her totally butt naked.
You know what?
Now he just can't wait to go find her and take her to a hotel room. So you know his feelings are now just evolved to lust from
if only our lizard brains will let me function like that. Because
so
I'll just tell you,
it happens to everyone. Because it does happen to girls too. It doesn't just happen to guys. Believe me, women, get, all flustered and everything, just like a guy does. We act differently because we're just different. We got different hormones. Our bodies are built different, so ours isn't as obvious, as it is for a guy. But women, oogle and ogle too. We go in the bathrooms and go, "Oh my God, did you see that?" Wow, whatever. That's normal. We all do that. We just react differently.
I think if a woman got her mind wiped, she'd completely dry out when she sees stud puffing getting stiff about her. I think her clan would completely be barren Sahara desert, no moisture whatsoever. You mind wipe a dude and you introduce him back to his attractive girlfriend he had for 3 years, and she's like, "Do you remember me?" "No, I don't remember the last 3 years." So
in this movie we just watched, the woman in red with the red lipstick and stuff, she had jumped his bones a few times in the way she seemed to act around him. Okay. And then when they saw the memories, they were zapping out, because she's like, and they're like, "What?" They couldn't believe it. She's banging this guy and he's not going to remember it. So after he comes back, it's like she's getting to get him all over again. Just like, she's conquest. It's a conquest each time that she goes to hire him. She's like, "I'm going to jump his bones again." And it's going to be brand new to him. And there's no ties, it's like, it's erased. It's gone, disappears. Even though she knows she's got the experience.
I don't believe a woman actually thinks that, especially if they invest time into a man and they've fallen in love with him. And even if the guy says, "Listen, I'm going to have an operation and I'm not going to remember anything we did for 3 years. I need you to be comforting. I need you to be my rock." I think that woman would dry out and go find other stiff dick to pursue, because she
didn't have to worry about it. She's loaded. She doesn't take care of herself. He was just like a toy, at the moment. So once every time she'd have a job with him, once a year or whatever, it was like a little tryst, icing on top of the cake or whatever you want to have, you want to do it.
Okay.
So
I mean, if you feel that's how that works, I don't know. I didn't see that part of the movie. I saw the movie they showed me, and I'm like, I'm just taking it as face value. I thought she
no, I'm
only
just
fucked
saying
him
at the beginning of the movie when they had their little thing,
Yeah.
their little fling, and then it was zapped away. He didn't remember, but she did, and I'm sure
and
she had
it's like
done it
she was flaunting it in front of all the other
before.
staff.
I'm sure that they had already done that before, and she just hand him her paycheck and say, "Well, I had a good time. Thanks. See you later." And it's over with. She don't have to worry about it. But I thought it was good. I enjoyed the movie a lot, so I'd give it a 7.5 too.
I think this is an easy 7.5, and I think this is a movie that a lot of people kind of feel the same about because it actually rates a little higher than what the critic consensus
Which is pretty high for me, considering it's got Ben Affleck in it. But I thought he did a very good job, a very believable part for him to portray this character. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, and this movie's got a lot of iconic John Woo-isms. So if you're missing some John Woo in your life, if you were disappointed by Silent Night, which is the first movie Woo's done in 20 years in America, then go ahead and rewind and go back to Paycheck and watch the $15 million work that Ben Affleck gave us, because this is probably one of his better films. I think this is a really enjoyable movie. I think this is a film that you can watch with your family, and it's not too heavy. It doesn't have any nudity, very little swearing, got a lot of action, got chases galore. And if you're not a big person for chases, watch anyway, because the director of photography flexes his muscles really hard. This is a very good movie for the kinetic action. I was very surprised with it. The movie still holds up, and I'm giving it a 7.5 or 75 out of 100. I think this movie's great. It for what it is, it does very well. It to compare it with another movie I saw recently, I think this movie's better than Rambo 3. It's not quite as good as Rambo 2, but it's better than Rambo 3 by far. And it's a very enjoyable film. You could enjoy this movie with about anybody in your family or close friends group, and you could drink some beers or some soda waters, and you could have some nice carbonated snacks. And this would go really good with that. You got some popcorn, you got buckets of popcorn. This is a fantastic movie for it. And yeah, this is out of the John Woo film collection. This is in the bottom third. It's not a bad movie. John Woo's a great director. The worst movie he did, we've mentioned in the chat. We had a fat fest about John Woo. If you didn't see it, John Woo is an amazing director, and he does a great many things with Chow Yun Fat. But the worst movie he did was with Tom Cruise, and that's Mission Impossible 2. Skip that movie. Just skip right the fuck over it. You go from Mission Impossible 2 to 3. 2 is utter garbage. And I don't really say that about a lot of movies where I'm just like, skip that fucking movie. But that's definitely one of those films, skip that fucking movie. It's got some great parts to it. It's good to watch on YouTube in 4-minute segments. You don't watch the whole thing. You'll be bored shitless within the first 6 minutes. Like, oh my God, this sucks. And you'll be painting miniatures with me. You'll be hanging out. Go watch the golden era of John Woo, The Killer, Hard Boiled, Better Tomorrow. Any of those films are fantastic. Just have me do a Christopher Walker. Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there, little guy. Okay. I miss you, Gil. Gil Bavel, I miss you, man. Janet, you said a 7.5. I said a 75 out of 100. That's kind of weird that we're both on target. Like we're in sync. We didn't discuss this beforehand, guys. Like as much as Janet and I do talk, she didn't get a chance to reach me after 3:00 today because my phone went glug. So, and if there's a bingo card out there floating around for the Bruce shows, if you have septic talk on your bingo card, go ahead and hit cover that one up. We need to do a bingo card. Janet.
Yes.
Next week, Overboard.
Oh, good. You one of your favorite actors.
Absolutely. My favorite
Kurt
actor of all time, Kurt fucking Russell. The
Right.
mane of
It's a good
hair.
movie too. One of my favorite actresses is in it.
Goldie Hawn.
Mm-mm. The Butler.
The Butler.
Roddy McDowell.
Oh, Roddy McDowell. Good
Remember?
God, I forgot he's in that.
He
He's
is
good.
so good in this. Even as a butler, he just kicks butt. He's like one of the actors I was telling you about. That I don't care what he's in. He is just the best of whatever he is picked to be in. He's that person, and he's good at it. So I love him. I love him. He's good in this next movie too. I can't wait to see it. It's a good comedy.
Shenanigans. For those of you that want to know about Man in the High Castle, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why that is so hard in the paint is because of these two young ladies here. Is it Dick Hackett? Is this one here? That's one of the daughters of Philip K. Dick. She plays. She's a behind the scenes counselor or a production therapist that makes sure the film gets massaged right and it looks exactly how her daddy wanted it. And this is one of the better action actresses, better the kinetic actresses of the 2000s, Mrs. Alexa Davalos. For some of you, you might remember Alexa in the movie Defiance or The Mist or Clash of the Titans.
Oh, I remember. She was the young girl in the
Chronicles of
Riddick.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's played in a lot of good stuff. She's played in some real shit too. But she's done some really good work. And it's really weird they don't have Man in the High Castle on the top 4 list here. That really makes me sad, especially seeing this shit here. This movie I could go without. I didn't need a remake. I didn't need Wrath of the Titans. I can watch a PlayStation game whenever I want to, if I want to. But I don't need this garbage. This is garbage, hot garbage. Give me Man in the High Castle over here.
That's not the original Clash of the Titans, right?
No, this is a 2010 pile of shit.
Okay, yeah.
They give it a 5.8. I gave that movie a 4.
Titans. It was good.
What?
Good. The original.
The original one is amazing.
Yeah.
This one here was garbage.
We did it.
Yeah.
We reviewed it.
Yeah. I love that movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, anything Ray Harryhausen or big practical effects, Janet, I'm going to be there. Blue pills already been popped. We're going to have a good time. Uh-huh. And that's just how I roll. I love practical effects, and you can't for before 1982, you cannot get any better than Ray Harryhausen. Mm-hmm. 1982 onward, hi, Mr. Rob Bottin. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Class of 1984. That's not a bad movie. Class of 1999 is a bad movie. Okay. So we're going to watch Overboard next week. And I'm looking forward to this movie. I don't know how we're going to watch it. I'm going to try to get a copy of it or get a DVD of it and try to get one of my virus machines to work. But we're going to try to get a hold of that. Janet, do you have a Fizz copy of this or no?
Yes, I have a DVD. I have it on DVD, but okay. I don't have my computer doesn't take discs. So I don't know how I would get you to watch it.
We're going to have to set up a phone and camera situation. That's okay. I can do that. I mean, I'm playing with this. I'm trying to get these painted. I know this sounds bad. I don't really watch the physical on the movies too much because I've got the lens right in front of me and I'm trying to get everything right on the figs. Mm-hmm. But I so much want to watch this movie because it's got my favorite person in it, Kurt Russell. And I know I'm carrying the torch from The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China and the what was that? What was the Walt Disney film he did in 1970s where it was before he did Escape from New York, but he did a Disney film where he would get invisible
Oh,
No,
God.
okay, but Kurt Russell was just like that's the first actor I remember watching and wanting to be like because he was cool. He
Was it Computer Wore Tennis Shoes?
might be, but I thought there was one where he was given an invisible serum to. They would like pump him like they were spraying pesticide.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
the Computer Wore Tennis
Can't
Shoes
remember.
too, but I might be misremembering something from the 70s. Surprise, surprise, right? It's only 50 years, 40 some odd years ago. But Kurt Russell's in it. Goldie Hawn's in it. We'll get a chance to watch this. Janet might be doing hosting duties next week, and that's fine. We'll do it in the Discord no matter what. I think all of us here are eager to see what movies she's got. And if you guys are curious as to what we're going to do for the love month of February, let me show you what we've got here. All right, so on February 5th, Overboard.
Mm-hmm.
On February 12th, Blast from the Past.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, you'll love it. You will. Wind River on February 19th.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's a good one.
And then the movie that, if there's any of you that have a child, a young boy aged 12 to 13, and he's not started his growth spurt yet, have him sit with us and we'll watch Romeo and Juliet from 1968.
You see, I haven't seen that version of Romeo and Juliet either.
Oh, boy. I love Olivia. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is it a good movie? Because I haven't seen it.
It's one of the best versions of Romeo and Juliet brought to film. It really is.
Okay.
It's a fantastic version. The actors are really good in their roles. Olivia completely sells Juliet. I fall in love with her every time I've seen this movie. Six Nations was pining about it, so one night I popped it over and found a copy of it. I'm like, okay, this is really good. And then like 5 minutes into it, like 15 minutes into it, I'm not painting miniatures. I'm watching the movie, and literally, yeah, you're in for a treat. It's the best classical version of Romeo and Juliet. It's done the way William Shakespeare would want to do it if he had any pull in Tinseltown today. No.
Good.
Absolutely not soy-based, Jeremy. Oh, okay. He saw it in 9th grade in 2013. My bad. I thought he was talking about. So, no, it happened in 2013? No, this is not Leonardo DiCaprio's version of Romeo and Juliet, which is an enjoyable version. It's just not a good version.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys understand that. You've been going through some things, and I know you're dealing with allergies right now. Sorry to hear that. But are you planning to do any more big stuff on your channel in the next week?
Just the shit show on Friday.
We've got some shit to talk about.
Yeah, it's been. I think that we're going to be so packed with shit till November. It's going to be. I don't know. I just don't know how it can get any worse. It just seems like it's so much more happening week after week. It's scary in a way.
Well, I'm loving all this crap coming out. Somebody tried to send me some AI porn of Taylor Swift, and I just kind of laughed at that.
I've seen so much stuff. And you know what? I think that somehow X is blocking it now. They're not letting anybody put any more stuff up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not with their queen. She's protected by the government, apparently, or something. I don't know.
She's definitely a plant. If I've ever seen a plant, it's definitely Miss Swift has done a good job of being a plant for the last few years.
Well, and they need her because she's got to get more people to vote for Biden and get the jab. They need her help because she's got millions and millions of young people that just love her and will do whatever she tells them.
I think it's hilarious, but like we'll have to talk about this Friday, but Friday night, if you guys haven't started tuning into the shit show with Janet and me and Ruben and Orange Hat
We
Reviews,
have fun. We do have a good
it's
time.
I feel sorry for Orange Hat Reviews because I think he takes it too seriously sometimes, and he looks at me like,
Well, he's young though, and I'm so
fucking say
happy
that.
that someone younger
Yeah,
is
that's true.
interested in what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because so many young people are just not, they're just not interested. They just have no clue what the future is about to give them if we don't do something, So
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
mm-hmm.
He's still endorsing Trump. Every thinking person I know is endorsing him. They endorse Western civilization. That's what Trump is. I really got to say that I appreciate everybody being here tonight. And
Yes.
if you're wanting
Thank
to
you.
know, if the day after Janet's shit show on Friday evening, the next day, we'll be delving back into Ash Peak with our high level Pathfinder game, and
Yeah.
maybe the players will complete this portion of the quest. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it for certain. I know.
Everybody cross your fingers and pray for Janet's dice. They're just not very good. They are so bad. And I've been trying. I used a different set every time I rolled. And I finally, the last 2 rolls that I had were actually decent ones. So 5 in a row were not good at all. So
that happens. It really does happen. I'm sorry to hear that. It sucks, but
yeah. But that's fate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why they use dice in the game. It's because there's no way to fake that. There's no way to cheat using rolling dice. And unless you get loaded dice or something, I guess you could do it that. But it's not like playing craps.
No.
But it's fun. It's fun anyways.
Yay! Happy to hear that. You're just a shit shot. Albert Cody, you're just a shit shot.
Yes, I said that. I said that myself. I suck at rolling dice.
Yeah, that happens.
I know.
It's okay. Chris is the same way. We're going to get out of here. Tomorrow night, I'm sure Janet's going to be uploading a few videos to her X and to her Instagram and her other social media feeds. If you're subscribed to Janet, thank you. Let's get Janet to 1,000 on YouTube. It's going to take years for people to watch 4,000 hours of her stuff, but I want to see her monetized. Like, she'll be monetized long after I've been booted from this program. And it would just be nice if she was able to get that, because I would really like to see her succeed on that end. It's not going to make her a millionaire, Harris, but she'll be at least able to be like, hey, I can do a stream, and if somebody wants to give me $1,
well, if I don't get any strikes before April 7th,
that's true.
I only need
true.
one.
You got 3 strikes. Fuck.
I have 2 right now, so if I get one more by April 7th before one of them goes away, I might not have a channel. So we'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
It's because I just can't help it. I can't stay away from politics. That's what hurts me every time. I'm on my 4th X channel too. I'm on my 4th profile on Twitter or X, what do you even call it? So,
if they would just take out all, I'm going to offend some people here, and I don't care. If Twitter would just take out the trust and safety faggots, I would be so much better off. I'd still have my first profile, but the trust and safety faggots are in there, and they've fucking ruined that entire platform. It's the same thing with Reddit. Trust and safety people that are there to keep all the bad words, the hurtful words, all that shit. Fuck you. Fuck you if that offends you, you weak fucking pathetic pile of shit. We're losing Western civilization. We're going to have people trolling, physically beating up people in civilized countries, no matter where you think you're safe at, you're not. And these putzes are making your kids weaker by saying, but we need to have nonviolent words. We need to have multi-diversity. We need to have diversity as a strength. And you know what? Fuck you. I'm done. God,
Feel better now?
I'm so much better. Are you ready
Okay,
to end it?
good.
I love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Well, everybody should have an event. See, that's one thing I like about it. I think that's just one of the things I'm very passionate about is fighting for freedom and for our kids. Those are my two most things that get me in trouble right there is kids in my country. So, and people being able to keep what they earn. If you earned it, you should get to keep it. You shouldn't have to take it and cut it all up and give it to other people. That's
Nice,
bullshit.
God bless you, sir, and I'll see you later on this week, my friend.
Good night. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. It was fun.
Okay.